IVM.
$100. That's all it takes to begin your journey with Bitcoin and Ethereum. No, really. With CoinSwitch, you can start investing in over 100 cryptocurrencies with just 100 rupees. On top of that, there are zero charges for deposits and withdrawals, so you can trade, buy, sell, however and whenever you want. All of this, plus their extremely intuitive interface, makes CoinSwitch the perfect app for beginners in the crypto space. But don't take my word for it. Just download CoinSwitch for free and try it out for yourself. If you'd like more information on cryptocurrencies, tune into a show about crypto with me, Rohan Joshi, my new adventure on IVM podcasts. CoinSwitch, kuch to badlega.
Here's your smart fact of the day. So what do all things pre-loved, Bombay Closet Cleanse, the local thrift, the vintage have in common? Yeah, also add Paradigm Thrift to it. What do they have in common? Well, the last word actually had a clue. Yes, they're all thrift stores, and they're all thrift stores in India, which is a bit of a growing trend. Now, is it a fad or is it part of a growing trend? That's what we're going to explore in this week's episode, this Thursday's episode of Smarter with Sid. Yep, this week's episode, I'm trying to explore the concept of thrifting and whether it will take off in India. And what do I feel as a guy who's been called to comment on all things digital and all things future? Will they survive online, or will it be like an offline boutique thing? Will it be like a mass sort of adoption of thrifting? And I wanted to cover all the angles in it and figure out where we are at the end of covering those angles. The first angle that I want to cover is, well, thrifting, is it working across the globe? You know, the biggest city for thrifting globally is Atlanta. It has a huge amount of thrift stores. And thrifting is very, very common in the UK where I'm residing currently. It is a wonderful occasion for us to actually look at these pre-loved clothes. That's what they call it. It's very environmentally conscious because you're not adding to any sort of environmental pollution by buying clothes that have already been bought and loved or used or owned before. And you're also buying them quite cheaply, at inexpensive rates, if I may have to be very polite about it. And what you are also doing is that you are contributing to charity, because a lot of these things are not for profit but for charity. And you're also looking at thrifting as a means of signaling to society that you are, kind of with it, woke and with the trends. So there are many positives for going for thrifting clothes, inexpensive, acceptable by society. Where I am, that is in the UK and the US certainly, and a lot of the world. But will it succeed in India as it has in the Western world, right? I mean, that is the question at hand. I mean, the business model for most of these stores is quite similar, right? I mean, people donate their used clothes to charity. The charity shop puts them up online or in physical stores. People go browse, purchase those stores, bought clothes, and then go home happy. I think there is a variant as well which is coming up, which is this high-end brand, which is LK Bennett in the UK, which is experimenting with people borrowing clothes. So if I kind of take up a subscription model, I'll actually pay whatever, £75 per month to get as many clothes as I want, use them and keep them for a period of 3 months maybe. Now, this is not thrift, by the way. This is a different business model, but I thought it'll be interesting to share over here. So you kind of use it and then return it and then take another one. And so you can always be turned out in really fabulous clothes, which are obviously kind of pre-rented or pre-rented, I would say, not pre-owned, but used certainly. And you're kind of doing your own thing. You're returning it. If you really like it, then you can buy it off on a discount and stuff like that. That is a good, different business model. But most of the business models are of the earlier option that I just mentioned. So when I was exploring whether this will work in India or not, I decided to kind of do a little bit of a dipstick research. You know what dipstick research means? You ask a couple of people that you know belonging to a certain segment or two and ask them in a qualitative, researchy way what they feel about the whole situation. Because I am certainly not somebody who is going to have all the opinions and would even know all the opinions around thrifting when it comes to India. So I started asking questions and I asked people whether this would catch on. So the first person I'd asked was somebody who was in an older age cohort, okay? And what she said was essentially that, well, I don't know. India is essentially a very hot country, and it's quite likely that the clothes get messed up, and I don't know where the clothes have been, and it's very difficult for me to actually buy clothes that have been used by somebody else. And I kind of recognize that, yeah, but so what? If it's a hot country, I mean, you can get clothes which are kind of good and buy them and clean them up and wear them. And then I realized that it is more than that. It is probably a little more societally driven as well, because maybe she didn't want to be seen in something that had been previously used by somebody and just accidentally kind of bump into them, right? Now, I don't know whether that makes us very conscious of the kind of clothes that we wear. But certainly, obviously, being of an older age cohort, it also meant that she was not particularly enamored by the cheapness of it. Maybe the cheapness was a turnoff. It was also not something that, she valued signaling to society in that sense that, hey, I'm part of this environmental movement and the rest of it. And that was pretty interesting to observe. Then, of course, I asked a couple of youngsters in the younger age cohort, I would say late teens, early 20s, etc. And what I noticed over there was a completely different perspective, a completely different attitude. I'm not saying something is good or something is bad. Remember, I'm looking at it as an observational scientist sort of perspective. What these guys said was, okay, it is going to be cheap. Okay. B, it is going to certainly help the environment. C, it is going to be, I'm going to like buying more and more clothes because I'm into experimentation and stuff like that. And I think my friends will also think it's very cool. The only thing which the younger cohort also said was, I don't know whether it being cheap is so much of an issue, because in India, you can get really good clothes at not so expensive rates. Now, this is really quite in contrast with, let's say, the UK or the US, wherein there's a big difference in branded, never used clothes and loved clothes. And I think this might be a bit of a deterrent for the younger generation as well. But I think that the younger generation certainly was more welcoming towards, thrift stores than the older generation. And that provided a very important point for me to consider. The observational pointer essentially was the fact that we are going to be besieged by the millennials and the Gen Zers as the primary shoppers in the years to come. And the changing set of values that we see in both of these generations as compared to older generations is remarkable. I mean, people are certainly very practical in Gen Z. They're, want the value for money, but they're also connecting to higher purposes going beyond selfish brands, as they would call it. And therefore, I do see this as a bit of a growing trend. There's a beautiful Zen saying which says, every 100 years, all new people. So every single time we feel that, oh, nahi, India nahi badlega, India is not going to change, and things are going to be done in a particular way. All we have to do is to take a look at the change around us and see how generations are being replaced by newer generations. They might be having a different set of values, and thrifting or previously loved clothes might very well be one such important trend. Now, how does that actually sound? Does that sound ominous to the likes of clothing brands or Amazon or whatever it may be? Of course it is. Of course it is a direct impact on their bottom line if this becomes a trend. But what I've noticed amongst new age digital companies is that normally they tend to embrace these trends and try to be part of that movement rather than stay away from it. So a smart brand would be looking at this movement very closely, look at the LK Bennett example that I gave from the UK very closely, and do something about it. Do something about it. Yeah. Well, I hope you like this particular episode of Smarter with Sid. Many more to come from where this came from. LinkedIn, well, look out for a poll, which I'd like you to answer. On Instagram, I'm the Traveling Professor, creating cringe and non-cringe content every now and then. And if you like podcasts like these, please go to ivmpodcast.com or just go download their app. There's some wonderful, wonderful, wonderful stuff out there, and from a variety of creators themselves. And as for me, I'm the Traveling Professor on LinkedIn and on Instagram, and do follow Smarter with Sid.
Hello, everybody. It's been another great week on the IVM Podcasting Network. On Know Your Kanun, Amber talks to Anshula Kapoor about her social celebrity charity Fankind, the ideology of the charity, and the various regulations behind this concept. On 30 Minute Rasta with Keshav, meet 3 of the most breathtaking gompas that are situated near Leh. On Shunyuvan, Chilite and I talk to Giridhar Yasa, Chief Technology Officer at Lending Card. On Say No to Drama, Chitna unravels the law of attraction and the spirituality surrounding it. And on the Life Manifesto, Zarina explains what it takes to be courageous with an interesting Spartan ideology from ancient history. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you enjoyed this show, or any of our other shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. We appreciate the word of mouth. And finally, we'd like to thank the sponsors on our network this week: Cred, Bank of Baroda Quarter, CoinSwitch Kuber, Slay Coffee, Intel, and Kotak Mahindra Bank. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Namaste, this is Cyrus Brocha. I am part of the government cancel culture program to remove rubbish off all the different streams available. So what we have is all the collected rubbish we put together on our show. It's called Cyrus Says. It's on IVM Podcast. You have to watch it and listen to it. It's on our app. It's on our website. It's on the YouTube channel. It's on Facebook. There are many different ways. Don't bother me and ask me how. You have to find out. We talk to different personalities. Many of them are known. Some are just people we meet downstairs and invite them up for chai. But the point is, it's fun and it's very therapeutic. So please join in and listen to Cyrus Says.